bustling city corner, a mother's desperate voice filled the air as she sang, pouring every ounce of her soul into each note. Cradled in her arms, her frail young son rested against her, his tiny body exhausted from the battle he never chose. She wasn't singing for fame, nor for recognition, she was singing for survival. Singing to raise money for the treatment that could save her child's life. What she didn't know was that, just a few feet away, a sleek pink Cadillac had rolled to a stop. And inside, watching in silence, was Snoop Dogg. His presence alone was about to change everything. Meanwhile, in the sterile walls of a children's hospital, Amanda Taylor sat in a brightly lit consultation room, her 3-year-old son Liam nestled in her lap. The cheerful animal decals on the walls felt like a cruel joke against the crushing weight of the reality unfolding before her. Liam, unaware of the tension thick in the air, clutched a worn-out teddy bear, its matted fur a quiet testament to the comfort it had provided through countless restless nights. Across from them, Dr. Evelyn Carter, a pediatric oncologist with kind eyes and silver-streaked hair, sifted through a stack of medical scans and reports, each one a puzzle piece and a terrifying picture. Taking a deep breath, she finally spoke, her voice a careful mix of authority and compassion. "Amanda," she said, meeting the young mother's gaze. "I'm afraid the results confirm our worst fears. Liam has stage 4 neuroblastoma." Amanda's grip on her son tightened, her heart pounding so loudly she could barely hear her own voice as she whispered, "Stage 4? Dr. Carter nodded solemnly. "The cancer has spread from his adrenal gland to parts of his left kidney." She lifted one of the scans, angling it toward the light. "Here," she pointed, guiding Amanda's eyes over the black and white shadows. "You can see the progression." Amanda leaned forward, trying to decipher the grainy image, but to her untrained eye, it was just a mess of shapes and darkness. All she knew was that her baby, her innocent, bright-eyed boy, was running out of time. What does this mean for Liam?" Her voice trembled. "How long?" She couldn't bring herself to finish the question. Dr. Carter set the scan down gently, her expression softening. "Without aggressive intervention, Liam may have 6 months, maybe a year at best." The words hit like a physical blow. Amanda instinctively wrapped her arms around her son, as if somehow, holding him close could shield him from the harsh reality. Sensing her distress, Liam lifted his gaze, his wide, innocent eyes locking onto hers. "Mama?" His small voice cut through the suffocating silence. Amanda forced a smile, running her fingers over his bald head. "It's okay, sweetheart," she murmured, though nothing about this was okay. Dr. Carter leaned in, her tone shifting with a glimmer of hope. "However, with the right treatment, surgery, immunotherapy, there's a real chance. We've seen children go into remission, even in late stages." Amanda clung to that hope like a lifeline. "And the treatment, when can we start?" Dr. Carter hesitated, concern creeping into her expression. "Amanda, we've had this discussion before," she said gently. "I have to ask, what's preventing you from moving forward with Liam's treatment?" The question hung in the air, heavy and inescapable. Amanda's composure cracked. Tears welled up in her eyes as she struggled to explain. "Our insurance." Her voice broke. "It only covers basic chemotherapy, consultations, diagnostic tests. The surgery, the immunotherapy. I can't afford it. If her husband were still alive, maybe they could have managed. But as a single mother juggling multiple jobs just to keep a roof over their heads, the cost of advanced cancer treatment was impossible." Dr. Carter's face softened with understanding. "I'm so sorry, Amanda. I know how overwhelming this is." She paused, choosing her next words carefully. "For now, we'll continue with basic chemotherapy to give Liam the best fighting chance under these circumstances. And I promise you, we'll explore every possible option." Amanda nodded, her gratitude laced with helplessness. She was willing to fight with everything she had, but against a system that put a price on her son's life, what chance did she have? As the consultation ended, Dr. Carter walked around the desk, resting a comforting hand on Amanda's shoulder. "We're not giving up. Liam is a fighter, and we'll be fighting right alongside him. Amanda looked up, tears streaming down her face. Thank you, she whispered. As she walked out of the consultation room, Liam's small fingers wrapped tightly around hers. The colorful animal decals on the walls blurred together through her tear-filled eyes, a kaleidoscope of hope and fear. But outside, on that busy street corner, fate was already in motion. And soon, a stranger in a pink Cadillac would turn their world upside down. The cold, sterile glow of the hospital lights faded as Amanda approached the billing counter, Liam still cradled in her arms. The clerk, a middle-aged woman with kind eyes, looked up and offered a familiar smile. Mrs. Taylor, she greeted, recognizing them from their frequent visits. How can I help you today? Amanda adjusted Liam on her hip, freeing one hand to dig into her worn-out wallet. I need to settle today's bill, please, she said, her voice still raw from the emotional consultation. The clerk nodded and turned to her computer. The rhythmic tapping of her fingers on the keyboard felt agonizingly slow as she pulled up the day's charges. Finally, she glanced back at Amanda. The total for today's consultation, imaging, and chemotherapy session comes to $5,500. Amanda felt the air leave her lungs. Even though she had braced herself for it, hearing the number still sent a fresh wave of anxiety through her. Without a word, she handed over her insurance card, silently praying that there wouldn't be an issue. The clerk swiped it, her eyes scanning the screen. Amanda held her breath. The few seconds it took felt like an eternity. Then, the woman looked up and smiled. Good news, Mrs. Taylor. Today's treatment is fully covered by your insurance. Relief washed over Amanda, but it was fleeting. Today was covered. But the treatments Liam truly needed, the ones that could actually save his life, were still out of reach. Thank you, she murmured, managing a weak smile as she took back the card. Leaving the billing counter, Amanda felt the weight of their reality settle back onto her shoulders. Today was a small victory, but the war was far from over. She carried Liam out through the hospital's sliding doors, stepping into the blazing afternoon sun. The warmth felt almost intrusive after hours inside the artificially cooled building. As she walked toward their van, a battered, old thing with faded paint and rust creeping along the edges, she couldn't shake the overwhelming sense of helplessness pressing down on her. Opening the side door, she carefully placed Liam in his car seat, securing him with the makeshift strap she had rigged up after the seatbelt had broken. Fixing it properly was just another expense she couldn't afford. A small, nagging voice in the back of her mind whispered guilt at her, but she silenced it. She was doing the best she could. Sliding into the driver's seat, she gripped the steering wheel, her knuckles turning white as Dr. Carter's words replayed in her mind. 6 months. Maybe a year. Unless they could afford the advanced treatment. The van's engine coughed to life after a few tries, and Amanda pulled out of the parking lot, her mind racing with numbers and impossible calculations. How much had she saved so far from street performances? Not enough. Not nearly enough. She needed a miracle. From the back seat, Liam's small voice broke through her storm of thoughts. Mama, sing? Amanda glanced at him in the rearview mirror. His tired little face was hopeful, expectant. Despite everything, she found herself smiling. Of course, sweetheart. What song do you want? Twinkle Star, he said, his eyes lighting up. And so, as they drove through the city streets, Amanda's voice filled the old van, singing softly for the little boy who was her whole universe. She made a silent promise in that moment, no matter what it took, she would find a way to get Liam the treatment he needed. The van came to a stop along a moderately busy shopping street. It was a Monday afternoon, and the sidewalks were quieter than usual, a stark contrast to the weekend's lively crowds. Amanda took a deep breath, steeling herself for what lay ahead. Okay, Liam, she said, turning to him. Mommy's going to sing for a while. You can nap if you want or look at your book, okay? Liam nodded, already reaching for the tattered picture book that never left his side. He yawned, blinking sleepily. Amanda smiled, her heart swelling with love. Stepping out of the van, she made her way to the back, opening the doors to reveal her modest setup. A worn microphone. A small, battery-powered speaker patched up from repeated repairs. And a single cardboard sign. She wasn't just singing for money. She was singing for Liam's life. What she didn't know was that today, someone was listening. Someone who could change everything. And at that very moment, a sleek pink Cadillac was pulling up to the curb. Amanda set down her worn-out cardboard sign, its edges curled and ink smudged from the sudden summer rain that had ruined her previous ones. Usually, she displayed multiple signs telling Liam's story, showing pictures of his journey, his battle, his fight. But today, all she had was this one. Help my son. The words, written in bold, black marker, felt both desperate and inadequate. With practiced ease, she began arranging her makeshift stage on the sun-warmed concrete. The small battery-powered speaker, its casing held together with layers of duct tape. The microphone, worn from use but still working. The open collection box, waiting for the kindness of strangers. She positioned everything carefully, mindful to leave enough space for pedestrians to pass by without issue. Before stepping up to sing, she glanced toward the van, parked just a few feet away. Through the window, she could see Liam's frail frame, his small chest rising and falling in deep sleep. His tiny hands clutched his tattered picture book, the same one he held every time she sang. His eyelids fluttered, heavy with exhaustion. He was ready for his nap. Amanda sighed, feeling the weight of it all pressing down on her. She had done this so many times over the past few months. She had seen countless faces, some kind, some indifferent. Strangers who stopped to listen, offering words of encouragement. Others who scoffed, judging her without knowing her story. And the donations, always appreciated, always never enough. But what choice did she have? Taking a deep breath, Amanda stood behind the microphone, shoving down the nagging doubt clawing at her mind. She had to believe that this was worth it. That singing on the street was better than sitting helplessly at home, watching the days slip away. Her voice rose over the hum of the city, clear and strong despite the fatigue in her bones. The first song, a familiar ballad, was one she had sung dozens of times before. It was the kind that made people stop. Some slowed their steps, curiosity flickering in their eyes. A few lingered, watching, listening. Others barely glanced her way, too caught up in their own lives to notice. But here and there, hands reached for pockets. Coins clinked into the collection box. Crumpled bills settled inside. Every cent mattered. Every donation was another step forward. But deep down, Amanda knew it wasn't enough. She powered through, singing with everything she had, pushing aside the exhaustion, the fear, the quiet terror of knowing time was running out. As she finished the song, she exhaled, glancing at the collection box. Not much, but something. She stole another look at the van. Liam was still asleep. Her throat ached. Her voice was already strained. She needed a break. Amanda stepped away from the microphone and made her way to the van. As she opened the door, Liam stirred, blinking up at her with sleepy eyes. "Hey, sweetie," she said softly, brushing his hair back. "Are you hungry?" Liam nodded, rubbing his eyes, his tiny hands reaching out for her. Amanda lifted him into her arms, her heart clenching at how light he felt. He should be heavier. Stronger. Healthier. From the front seat, she grabbed his lunchbox, a simple plastic container holding a plain bread sandwich. Her stomach twisted with guilt at how little it was. "I'm sorry it's not more," she murmured, more to herself than to him. "Mommy promises to get you something better later, okay?" Liam didn't complain. He took the sandwich happily, taking small bites as if it were a feast. Amanda watched him eat, making a silent vow to buy him something more nutritious once she was done singing. She handed him his sippy cup of milk, then turned her attention to the collection box, quickly counting the bills and coins. $43. Not bad for an hour, but nowhere near what they needed. She swallowed the disappointment and tucked the money away. No time to dwell on it. No time to break. Mama, up. Liam's voice was soft, his arms outstretched toward her. Amanda smiled, unable to resist. Of course, sweetheart, she whispered, lifting him into her arms. With Liam resting against her hip, she stepped back up to the microphone. She knew exactly what song she needed to sing next. Taking a deep breath, she began. We'll go up, 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 but I'll fly a little higher. The lyrics of Clouds by Zach Sobich drifted into the warm summer air, carrying every ounce of love, desperation, and hope she had left. She sang not just for Liam, but for every parent who had ever faced the unimaginable. For every mother or father who had begged, prayed, fought against the impossible. The melody wrapped around the street, catching the attention of more passers-by. Some stopped in their tracks. Some pulled out their phones to record. Even a few cars slowed, windows rolling down to catch the haunting beauty of the song. And then, she saw it. A sleek, pink Cadillac rolling up to the curb. The car slowed to a crawl. The driver was watching. And Amanda had no idea that her life was about to change forever. The last notes of Amanda's song hung in the air, fading into the city's rhythm. For a moment, there was silence. Then, a wave of applause rolled through the small crowd that had gathered around her. People stepped forward, dropping coins and crumpled bills into her collection box, offering quiet words of encouragement. Amanda bowed her head slightly, gratitude swelling in her chest. It was never much, but every dollar, every kind smile, reminded her that there were still good people in the world. She was so focused on the growing crowd that she'd barely noticed the sleek pink Cadillac that had pulled up just behind her van. At first, she assumed it was just another passerby stopping to listen. Maybe someone who had been drawn in by the emotion in her voice. She had seen it happen before. But as the driver's door opened, a figure stepped out, and Amanda's breath caught in her throat. Dressed in a crisp blue blazer and matching shirt, his presence commanded attention even before she truly processed who he was. Her eyes widened. It was Snoop Dogg. The world around her seemed to slow. Snoop removed his sunglasses, and Amanda saw something unexpected. His eyes were glassy, emotion brimming just beneath the surface. The weight of his gaze was heavy, serious, almost at odds with his usual laid-back persona. Amanda stood frozen, Liam still in her arms, as Snoop Dogg stepped toward her. That was beautiful, he said, his voice low, thick with emotion. That song, it means a lot to me. Reminds me of someone close I lost to cancer. Amanda swallowed hard, nodding. She could barely find her voice. Thank you, she managed. Snoop's gaze shifted, falling on Liam. He took in the boy's frail frame, the bald head, the unmistakable signs of chemotherapy. A deep understanding flickered in his eyes. Your son? He asked gently. Amanda nodded again, her throat tight. Yes, this is Liam. Snoop's expression softened further. He crouched slightly, meeting Liam's sleepy gaze. Hey there, little man, he said, his voice warm. Liam blinked at him, offering a small, tired smile before snuggling closer to Amanda's chest. Snoop straightened, turning back to Amanda. Mind if we talk for a bit? Still struggling to process the surreal turn of events, Amanda nodded. Of course, she said, her voice slightly shaky. Snoop patted his pockets, a look of mild frustration crossing his face. Damn, I think I left my checkbook in the car, he muttered, turning toward the Cadillac. And that's when it happened. A sharp voice cut through the soft murmurs of the remaining crowd. You need to stop faking your son's illness for sympathy. The words slammed into Amanda like a punch to the gut. She whirled around, instinctively clutching Liam closer. A woman was pushing her way through the onlookers, her face twisted in anger and disgust. The woman's voice dripped with mockery as she pointed an accusing finger. Let him grow some hair, and then maybe we'll believe he's actually sick. A few gasps rippled through the crowd. Some people turned away, clearly uncomfortable, while others whispered in shock. Amanda's cheeks burned with a mix of rage and humiliation. She opened her mouth to respond, but no words came out. Snoop, who had frozen mid-step at the sound of the commotion, turned back. The easygoing energy he carried just moments ago was gone. His expression hardened, his jaw tightening as he strode toward the confrontation. His voice was smooth, controlled, but laced with something sharp, something dangerous. "Excuse me?" The woman hesitated, suddenly aware of who was addressing her. Her bravado wavered, but only for a moment. I'm Jasmine," she stammered, her tone shifting into something almost flirtatious. "Oh my God, can I get a picture with you?" Snoop didn't blink. His voice stayed cool, but the edge in it sharpened. "Your name sounds like a singer's name," he said. "So here's the deal, if you can sing better than Amanda, and you apologize for being cruel and judgmental, then I'll consider taking a picture with you." Jasmine's face paled. I can't sing," she admitted. "But if you train me, maybe." Snoop exhaled, shaking his head in irritation. "You know," he said, his voice low, serious, "I don't mess with people who are proud and cruel. If you judge others without knowing their struggle, you ain't my fan. And I don't support that kind of energy." He turned to Amanda. "That is your name, right?" She nodded, still holding Liam close. "Yes." "Amanda." Snoop turned back to Jasmine. His tone softened slightly, but his words hit just as hard. "I think Amanda's got real talent. A real story. And I want to support her." Jasmine's expression shifted, realization settling in. She had severely misjudged the situation. Her mouth opened as if to argue, but Snoop's unwavering gaze silenced her. Without another word, she turned and stormed off, disappearing into the city crowd. The tension lingered for a moment before dissolving. Snoop turned back to Amanda, his expression softening once again as he looked at her and Liam. "I'm sorry about that," he said sincerely. "Some people just don't understand." Amanda, still reeling from everything that had just happened, managed a small, shaky smile. "Thank you," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "You didn't have to do that." Snoop shook his head. "Nah. I did have to. Ain't nobody gonna treat a mother fighting for her kid like that. Not on my watch." He paused, looking at Amanda, then at Liam. And in that moment, Amanda had no idea that this was only the beginning. Snoop stepped closer, his voice low and sincere. "I'd really like to hear your story, if you're willing to share it." Amanda hesitated, then nodded. She had carried this weight alone for so long, maybe it was time to let someone else in. Taking a deep breath, she began. "This is Liam. He's 3. He has stage 4 neuroblastoma." The words cracked in her throat. Snoop's expression darkened with sympathy. "I'm so sorry. That's a tough battle." Amanda nodded. "We found out months ago. The cancer started in his adrenal gland, but spread to his kidney. Our insurance only covers basic chemo, but what he really needs is surgery and immunotherapy. I've been singing and begging on the streets to raise money. People have been kind, but it's never enough. And without full treatment." She swallowed hard. "The doctors say he might only have 6 months to a year." Snoop's jaw tightened. "That's not right." Seeing her desperation, Amanda quickly added, "I can prove it. I have his hospital records in the van. People accuse me of faking, but I would never." Snoop held up a hand. "You don't have to prove anything to me. I believe you." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a checkbook. Amanda's heart pounded. But then, he tore the check in half. Her stomach dropped. I'm sorry, did I say too much?" Snoop smiled, his eyes filled with determination. "No, Amanda. I'm tearing this up because a check isn't enough. I want to do more." Amanda stared. "What do you mean?" Snoop's grin widened. "I see more than a mother in need, I see talent. And I have an idea." He pulled out his phone. Give me a few minutes. Amanda watched, still stunned, as he stepped away, talking animatedly into the phone. She glanced down at Liam, who rubbed his tired eyes. Mama, why am I always sleepy? I want to play. Amanda pressed a kiss to his head, whispering, I don't know, baby. But I think things are about to change. A few minutes later, Snoop returned, grinning. Okay, Amanda. Keep singing. I'll be right back. He hopped into his pink Cadillac and drove off. Amanda, still in shock, gently placed Liam back in his car seat and turned toward her microphone. She didn't know what Snoop had planned, but one thing was certain, her life had just taken an unexpected turn. She had just finished her 5th song when she heard the rumble of a vehicle approaching. Not just Snoop's Cadillac, but a van filled with professional sound equipment. Amanda's eyes widened as Snoop stepped out, followed by a crew of people unloading speakers, microphones, and lights. What is all this? Snoop grinned. We're building you a stage. As the crew worked, Snoop explained his plan. I want to live stream while you sing. Let people hear your story. Let them donate. Amanda's throat tightened. I don't even know what to say. Thank you. Snoop's expression turned serious. You don't have to thank me. You've got real talent. Let's use it. As the makeshift stage came together, a crowd gathered. Snoop's security kept order, while the production crew set up cameras. Snoop turned to Amanda. Are you ready? Amanda glanced at Liam, still asleep in the van. For months, she had sung on the streets, barely scraping by. And now, she had a real stage. A real chance. She took a deep breath. I'm ready. Snoop smiled. All right. Let's do this. He started the live stream, his voice cutting through the city noise. Ladies and gentlemen, meet Amanda. She's got a voice that'll blow you away, but more importantly, she's got a story you need to hear. Amanda stepped up to the microphone and introduced herself. This is for my son, Liam. And then, she sang. As Amanda performed, the crowd grew. Donations poured in. Her story spread like wildfire. Even Snoop, watching from the sidelines, looked impressed. But just as she was about to start another song, a commotion stirred at the edge of the crowd. 2 police officers. Amanda's heart sank. Snoop stepped forward. Evening, officers. Is there a problem? The taller officer sighed. We've had complaints about noise and crowding. We'll need to clear the area. Snoop nodded, respectful but firm. I get it. We didn't mean to cause trouble, just trying to help a mother and her sick child. The officer hesitated, glancing at Amanda. Then at Liam in the van. His expression softened. I see. Well, we still need to wrap it up for safety reasons. Snoop nodded. Understood. We'll shut it down. Turning to the crowd, Snoop clapped his hands. All right, folks. We gotta call it a night. But thank you all for your support. As people dropped final donations into the overflowing collection box, the crew packed up. Amanda stood in the middle of it all, overwhelmed. Snoop approached, his voice warm. You did amazing. How are you feeling? Amanda's voice trembled. I don't even know. This all feels unreal. Thank you. Snoop nodded. Listen, it's late. Let me give you a ride home. We'll talk more about what's next. Amanda hesitated. That's kind, but I have my own car. Snoop glanced at her old, beaten-down van. I get that. But how about this? My security team can drive it and follow us. You and Liam can ride with me. Amanda hesitated, then nodded. Okay. But I'll need Liam's car seat. Snoop grinned. No problem. As his team transferred the car seat, Amanda took a deep breath and climbed into Snoop's pink Cadillac. Snoop gently secured the now sleeping Liam and got behind the wheel. He smiled. Finally, a baby in the Cadillac. How cool is that? Amanda laughed, shaking her head at the surreal moment. Definitely a first for us. As they merged into traffic, Snoop handed her his phone. Check it out. The live stream. Amanda scrolled through the comments, her eyes widening at the thousands of messages of support. People were donating, asking how they could help, sharing her story. Her voice shook. I don't know what to say. Snoop smiled. It's a lot, huh? But this is just the beginning. We're gonna make sure Liam gets the treatment he needs. Amanda's heart pounded. Was this real? Was this really happening? Snoop's voice broke through her daze. So, where's home? Amanda hesitated. It's not in a great neighborhood. Snoop chuckled. Amanda, I grew up in poverty. Trust me, I've seen it all. As they drove, Snoop shared stories of his past, of struggling to survive, of hustling just to get by. Amanda listened, comforted by his honesty. By the time they reached her home, she realized this wasn't just about Liam. This was about her. Snoop wasn't just helping a mother in need. He was changing their lives forever.